Alex Ross has redefined comic book art, setting a new standard with his stunning painted realism. From his debut on the Terminator to groundbreaking masterpieces like Marvel's and the legendary Kingdom Come, his work has captured the heart and souls of superheroes. This is Creator Spotlight. We celebrate the visionary career of the artist known as the Norman Rockwell of comics and explore the comics that define his legacy and is simply timeless. We're going to focus on a superstar painter by the name of Alex Ross, and that's what today's Creator Spotlight is going to be all about. Shane, what's your thoughts on his work so far? The legacy.
He's another one of those artists, like the ones we've covered, like Jim Lee, like even Frizen as a newer, like I call her newer compared to some of these ones we've been talking about, but Alex Ross is one of those people that when he's on a cover, you notice it. When I was going through my CLZ, I brought it up. I have about 213 Alex Ross covers, and every one of them I stop and look at because they're great. And you always look for those kind of different ones and everything. And the other beauty thing about Alex Ross is if you have a favorite character, almost certainly he's drawn it and you can find it and it looks amazing.
So Alex Ross shown artistic promise at the early age of 13 when he was creating original comics. At 23, Marvel hired him to illustrate Marvel's 1994. We'll talk more about that groundbreaking series that redefined superhero storytelling. Ross is celebrated for his realistic, fully painted works, including tributes to Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. His distinct style earned him multiple awards. Beyond comics, Ross has worked on projects like a limited edition Academy Award poster and the Yellow Submarine painting commissioned by Apple. Ross is often called the Norman Rockwell of comics, and Ross cites both Rockwell and Salvador Dali as inspirations. Alex Ross has become one of the most respected and influential comic book artists of all time. You can see more of his work by going to his website at alexrossart.com. Also, he does have also an Instagram as well at the Alex Ross Art. I remember seeing that Academy Awards poster, and I knew it was an Alex Ross. That's how distinct his style is.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, Alex Ross, he uses mixed medium. So one of the things that I remember early in his career was what the tools he was utilizing. And I was in college at the time when he came out, and I had a chance to speak to him in one of the conventions back then. And I asked him, I said, what kind of medium are you using? So he said he uses gouache paint. And if you know anything about gouache paint, it's a water-based paint, but it is extremely hard to do blendings with it. Like, it's hard to create gradients with. He also utilizes airbrushing techniques. And he's a huge component of using models. If anybody's seen his work, you'll see that there's a lot of models in his work. And he usually has a model for a certain character for his work. And that's how he does the work. Another thing that makes Alex Ross so great to me personally is that he's also an interior artist. Someone like him to be an interior artist is amazing. And if you ever had a chance to see his pencil work, it's also great.
It's unbelievable that you can look at a book like the Marvels or any of the other books that we're going to talk about that he does the interiors for, and every panel is amazing. It's just something to enjoy. It's awesome. I love it.
Let's dive into Alex Ross with his first known work, and that's the Terminator, the Burning Earth. This book came out in 1990 for Now Comics. Fair market value of this book is $9. 9.8 goes for $155. The last recorded sale of this book was $6. And it's his first cover art.
I'm going to go try to buy it right after this is done.
That's the best part about these spotlights. You get to find out what these books are worth, and you'll be surprised. There's some that have some value there. But like these key books where it's like his first cover art. And it's a Terminator. It's a Terminator book, which is cool.
And it looks cool as well.
Here's another surprise one for me that I actually thought was a huge surprise. Miracle Man, Apocrypha #3. This came out for Eclipse Comics in 1992. Another book that is rare because I've never seen this book. And we have a nice little homage in this cover. This book goes for about $9 fair market for a very fun. A 9.6 goes for $12.
Oh, I love it.
$12 for 9.6. The last recorded sale of this book was in September, and it was for $5. And this features interior art by Alex Ross. I didn't know about this book until this week.
Me either. You know, it reminds me of another one that I have that just is a recent one is the Immortal Thor cover he did, where she's ripping the first appearance of Thor up, ripping the comic up on the cover.
Let's take a look at the next book here on our list, and that is Hellraiser #17. This book came out in 1992 from Marvel Epic line. This book has a fair market value of $13, very fine, and $75 for 9.8. The last recorded sale was not that long ago on November 22nd for $13, and this is his first cover art on Marvel Comics.
I'm kicking myself on this one because I'm a huge Clive Barker fan. I have most of his comics, and I checked this because I know I have this series, and I stopped getting it at #6.
Oh, now you're beating yourself over. It's like, you could probably still collect the whole series, and in 92, Clive Barker was like on the top of his game. I remember that.
Yeah.
So I could understand why these books were hot.
No.
Not much has changed. His style is still recognizable. He still has that like shiny, that's the airbrushing that comes along with his imagery. It's a cool cover.
Yep, for sure.
Marvel Age 129. This one came out in 1993. This is fair market value of $7. 9.8s go for about $69. So now we're starting to see a little bit of value here. However, a last recorded sale of this book was at $3, and this happened November 21st. This does feature interior illustrations of Black Panther by Alex Ross.
Very cool interior pinup as well.
So let's take a look at that pinup. Looks familiar?
Oh, yeah, classic.
If you look at the corner, you can see here Black Panther as rendered by Alex Ross of Marvels. So this book was the precursor to the next book we're going to talk about, and that is his breakout performance in Marvels. Marvels #1, 1994 came out. It was groundbreaking. It was done by him and writer Kurt Busiek. I remember reading this story. It was an amazing story. It was set in the 60s at the time where all Marvel characters were really populating, and it's telling the story through a photojournalist, which we'll talk more about that because there's a common theme to Alex Ross storytelling. As an artist, as a plotter, he usually has a writer attached to it, but he's definitely a plotter. He's that kind of artist that he's actually involved in the process as opposed to just drawing works. He's part of that thinking process. This book has a fair market value of $6. A 9.8 goes for about $52. Last recorded sales is $6 of this book, and that was just recent. He does the interior work as well as the covers. The covers are done in acetate. The word Marvels is done in this plastic acetate, and when you open it up, it's really a virgin variant.
Yeah.
Mhm,
These are books that I missed when they came out.
mhm,
And I'm always kind of watching for like the complete setup to pick up.
mhm.
Just amazing.
Yeah. I happen to have all 4 issues of this book. I'm so happy to have them. Each book is pretty thick, so it's not your typical 22 pages. They're about 48 pages each. So they are thicker books. They maintain their conditioning because of the acetate, I would say. They keep it, nice and prestige. This is the first cover with the Human Torch. That's the original Human Torch that was an android. And we also have some really cool covers. You got one of Angel, another one of Silver Surfer, but the one that's probably the most iconic has to be issue number 4, where Spider-Man's eye and that sinister Green Goblin with Gwen.
And it's such a small part of it, but the detail, you don't ever forget that cover. It's amazing. I love
Mhm.
that cover.
Literally, right? Spider-Man, amazing.
Yeah.
It's a great cover. So this is the book that really put Alex Ross on the map. Like, after this book came out, everybody wanted to work with him.
Yeah.
And the next group that did was DC Comics, and this is again another sleeper. The Spectre 22 came out in 1994, fair market value of $7, 9.4. We talked about another book earlier, $10.
Another one I'm kicking myself for because I love the Spectre. And again, I'm missing certain issues, and this is one of them. Like I have all around this one, but I don't have this one.
All right.
I'm going to be looking for it on Wednesday.
$9 fair market for a Fairy Fine was sold in December 9th. This is the first published DC art by Alex Ross that features the Spectre and the backside of Superman.
Yeah.
Mullet Superman, no less.
So you got to say it's his first Superman art too.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I would add that myself to CLZ.
Astro City #1. This is an Image comic. Came out in 1995 with Kurt Busiek. And the fair market value of this book is $16. Very fine. 9.8 goes about $75. The last recorded sales of this book was $23 near mint. This was the first published cover art of Alex Ross for Image Comics. The significance of this book has everything to do with his collaboration with Kurt Busiek, as well as, I believe it's Brent Anderson, who is the artist who does the interior work, because they will work together in the future for other books. So Alex Ross does have a stake in this book, even though this book is a Kurt Busiek book.
This one is a total. I missed this one completely. That's for sure.
I do recall when it came out, back in 95 when it came out, there was buzz behind the book because it had this golden age feel to it. The character you've seen right there, his name is the Samaritan, and it's kind of like a world of superheroes. So it's very DC golden age, and that they were paying homage to golden age like characters, something that Alex Ross loves. He loves golden age characters. We'll see that again. Another book that's a little more valuable than the other ones, but it's still relatively low in cost. Here's a surprise. Indiana Jones and Sargasso Pirates #1. This came out back in 1995 for Dark Horse Comics. The fair market value of this book is $8. There are no slabs recorded as sold, and the last recorded sale was $8, and that was recent. That was actually this week that this book sold, and it features Alex Ross doing Indiana Jones.
Another one like Indiana Jones, super popular, obviously, and people are always going to be looking for these covers, and this is a great like cover to try to seek out, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's amazing. I love the research into this.
It's so much fun looking at these books. Like, oh, look, he did an Indiana Jones book, and he did the covers for the series. So this is a limited series, and he did all the covers, like RoboCop.
Yeah, well, and then going back to the Terminator, his first cover work, he just did the cover for the new Terminator that just came out, issue 1. He did a cover for that as well.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the creme of the creme, as they would say, the best of the best. Kingdom
Yeah.
Come. This book came out in 1996 for DC Comics. Fair market value of this book is $11. $189 for 9.8. The last recorded sales $5 for this book. All right. It is an Elseworlds classic where him and Mark Waid work together for this book and is referred to by many as the greatest Elseworlds story. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, a friend of mine has this book, and whenever we talked about comics, it always goes back to this book because he doesn't buy anything else. He owns Kingdom Come, and he's tried to read other books, and he just like it's not as good as Kingdom Come, and
that's the
kind
bar.
of the mark of that this book has done. It's amazing.
Yeah, it falls on the echelon of being greatest stories ever told in comics. You have Watchmen as a story that's one of the greatest stories. Dark Knight Returns, Sandman. All those books are considered the greatest of the genre. This falls with that. And what's interesting to know is how much credit Alex Ross actually gets for this book. Mark Waid is the writer, and he gets all the credit. He gets as much credit as Alex Ross does. But the fact that Alex Ross also gets credit for this book, not just for the art, but for the storytelling behind this book.
Yeah, and this is another one of those comics the whole, like when you get the graphic novel, it's one of those ones that you can give to someone that doesn't read comics. Watchmen is dense. There's a lot to it. Same thing with like V for Vendetta and that type of book. But this one, you can give it to them, and everybody, whether you read comics or not, appreciates really good art, and that's going to hook them right away.
This book, as well as Marvel's, was an entry-level book for Alex Ross. This book happened because of Marvel's.
Yeah.
It really did. DC said, we want you to do what you did in Marvel's. Here's Mark Waid. You guys think of a story. And in Marvel's, they went to the past. For Kingdom Come, they went to the future. And it's something that's going to happen again with Alex Ross. This book has maintained. I can't wait to see a movie version of this book. I want to see this done somehow.
Do you think that would be better in live action, or if they could somehow animate it in his style?
I would love to see an animated version of this book with an adaptation of his style. I don't think there'll be, but then again, we have the technology now to do it. And I don't think it'll be that hard. I just think it's going to look awkward. But if you did it in the style of a Fleischer, like the old classic Superman cartoons, I think that will be amazing.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time till this gets made. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. Also, I have to mention it. There is a Kickstarter campaign that was launched. They're still collecting, even though they've reached their goal. And for the making of Kingdom Come, which is a documentary that I do plan on seeing very soon. If you go to the Kickstarter campaign, you can have access to the stream already to watch it. It will be released in near future. I believe in March it's supposed to be released.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. So be on the lookout for Kingdom Come, the documentary of this book. I got to show it to you. This is issue 1, but you got to see the other issues. Issue 2, issue 3, and that last issue. What is it with Alex Ross and these issue number 4 covers?
Yeah. Amazing.
Point, it is so popular that Superman logo is now being featured in the Superman movie. Is James Gunn trying to tell us something?
Hopefully Alex Ross is getting a little bit of royalties for that.
We hope so. You never know. Kingdom Come, all-time classic. If you haven't read it, read it. Our next book here is a book I just wanted to kind of like throw it out there because I thought it was really cool cover. And this is Batman Legends of the Dark Knight issue 100. This came out back in 1997 for DC. This book has a fair market value of $11. There are no reported sales for slabs. The book last sold for $9. it's just a really cool early cover. Um, Today, Alex Ross is known for doing hundreds of covers. This was one of the early ones, and what I like about this one is just seeing him do Robin.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. So there was no real reason why I picked this one other than, you know what, it's a nice little palate cleanser to what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, my first Alex Ross cover, when I go back, my earliest one that I have is 10 years after this one, just about. It's Batman 676, which is another really cool looking Batman cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's take a look at our next one. Another sleeper. This is US. It's recorded in cover price as Uncle Sam, but the actual title of the book is called US. To the point that I went to cover price and I went in, hey, you need this book in this list. And then afterwards I found it under Uncle Sam. This book came out in 1997. This is a DC Vertical comic book. This fair market value of this book is $18. No recorded slabs sold. The last recorded sale of this book is $3. This is an Eisner Award winning story by Alex Ross and Steve Darnell about this homeless man who is starting to get visions of him being Uncle Sam. It's 2 issues. I remember when it came out in 97. I do recall it. And this was Alex Ross. It was a pet project of his, of course. Pretty much he said, hey, I want to do this. I want to take Uncle Sam, which is a Golden Age character in comics, as well as, you know, the war and all that. And they did it. It didn't really perform well, but it won an award.
Yeah, I've never seen this book before. Seeing this slide. It's another, like you said, another sleeper. My only experience with Uncle Sam was a small little DC digest I had when I was like 10 years old.
Not a lot of people really go out for the hunt on it because it's not featuring a major superhero. It's not Kingdom Come. But it's worth noting it is interior work by Alex Ross, which as of today is very rare. Our next book is a special one, and that's Earth X Special Edition. This book came out in 1997 from Marvel Comics / Wizard Magazine. I'll explain that in a minute. Fair market value of this book is $5. No recorded slabs. The recorded sales of this book is $8. What makes this book significant is it is similar to Kingdom Come. This is Alex Ross' take on a possible dystopian future for the Marvel Universe. This is Alex Ross' answer of Kingdom Come for Marvel. Wizard Magazine, which was hugely popular at this time, they approached Alex Ross and they asked Alex, hey, can you create what you did in Kingdom Come, but with Marvel characters? So, for fun, this was just for fun. This wasn't planned out, but for fun, he created all these characters. So you had these little bios and kind of like we talked about the Marvel Universe Index last week. Similar, he did that for a whole bunch of different characters. Like, what would be his take with Marvel characters in the future? He did this amazing Captain America, and you know, Spider-Man was a little over. Peter Parker was overweight, and Logan was with Jean Grey. All this good stuff that was going on at this time. It was so popular and so well received that Marvel said, let's make this into a book.
That's awesome. And look at the price you can get it at.
And this is a hard book to pick up because this was an addendum to a Wizard Magazine comic. This wasn't a book that you could just pick up at the shop. You had to buy the Wizard comic for it. So the fact that it's going for about $8 is kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
Because it is a bit of a rare book. I have a copy, and my copy is not that great looking. It's very thin. You know, it's just several pages, but it's really cool. The concepts are great. We get to see it formulate in the future. Next book is Squadron Supreme. This is the trade paperback. It's not your traditional comic book. It is a trade paperback. It came out in 97. This is a collection of issue 1 through 12 of the original Squadron Supreme. And it was last recorded sale was $70, which also makes it the fair market value of this book. What's important about this book, and it has to be the first printing, it's not any other printing. The first printing in accordance with the writer of Squadron Supreme, Mark Gruwall, who passed away. His wishes were that his cremated ashes were mixed in the ink in the first printing of this trade paperback. So if you have a copy of the first printing of Squadron Supreme trade paperback, which looks like this, and the cover is done by Alex Ross, then you have some of the ashes of Mark Gruwall. I don't know how I feel about that personally.
Just when you thought you could sleep at night.
That's how much the story meant to him. But
yeah.
But Alex Ross did provide the cover for it.
And that they honored that is pretty interesting too.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first time they've done things like this. There's a famous thing where Kiss used their blood and they put it in the ink of the book alongside Stan Lee. It is Marvel's answers to Watchmen in a weird way. Maybe not to that extreme level. What if DC characters were in the Marvel universe, which is really a take on the Justice League more than anything. Superman Forever #1 back in 1998. This book has a fair market value of $9. 9.8 goes for $198. That's a little off to me personally. Last recorded sale is $6. This features an iconic Superman cover done by Alex Ross. This marks the return of our classic Superman. Before this, he was donning the electric blue. This was him returning to his classic duds. Another classic cover.
Look, those numbers. Watch for this one in minty shape. I mean, that's a huge markup for a 9.8 if you can find it. The black would be tough to get, but
yeah, the $9 for near mint. Come on, those numbers. I wouldn't buy a 9.8 at $198 when I could just buy it $9 for near mint and just bet on it.
Yeah, grade it myself.
Here's another really cool one that Alex Ross did. Again, another rare interior work that was done by Alex Ross. So Alex Ross, Paul Dini, who's known for being mostly the writer behind Batman the Animated Series and pretty much a lot of the animated films, the animated cartoons that followed, they worked hand in hand to create these Treasury Edition books of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. This is the first of that series, and the fair market value of this book goes for about $20. There are no slabs for this book that's been recorded. As far as sales go, the last recorded sale of this book was that $20, and it was recently done. This is a really cool series. It's not like groundbreaking work. It's just all it is Alex Ross doing interior work.
Yeah.
And that's the importance. So there's Superman Peace on Earth is the first one. You also have Batman War on Crime, Shazam Power of Hope, Wonder Woman Spirit of Truth, as well as Justice League JLA Liberty and Justice. So these are all Treasury editions.
You can pick up a book like that and it looks amazing, and it's not that much.
Next book, I mentioned this earlier, Earth X issue 0. This book is going for $3 at 8.5. $10 was last recorded. It sold for $3 earlier this month. It's the first series of a trilogy of books for a future of Marvel Universe. In this universe, everything that lives has been mutated by the Terrigen Mist. So what if a world where everybody becomes an Inhuman?
Another book that I didn't know. I remember seeing the title, but didn't know his involvement in it. And look at the prices you can pick it up for.
So what he was doing, he did the covers for. It started with Earth X, then it went to Universe X, and then it ended with Paradise X, and that's the series. One thing that's important to note within that, There is a book that's probably has the most value out of all of them, which is Universe X, I believe is issue number 9, which features the Silver Surfers with an S. And that is the book that people have been hunting down. I don't think I put it on this list, but I wanted to note it because I want to feature more about Alex Ross rather than spec books in this way. But look out for that book. That's the heater of the
Right.
series.
Because it's got both Silver Surfer and the female version of Silver Surfer on it. I remember that cover now.
Yeah. So another big book, Batman Harley Quinn. This came out back in 1999. This is probably one of the most expensive books of his lot. Fair market value of this book is $135. Fine. 9.8 sells for $423. In fact, the 9.8 sold for $406 late November. This is Harley Quinn in the main DCU.
Yeah, if you're hunting Harley Quinn appearances, you're trying to find this book.
Really fun book. And here's another one that's pretty fun. That's good to pick up. This is a hardbound book. Wizard Millennium, Alex Ross, updated and expanded number 1. This came out for Wizard in 2003. Why is this in this list? It's Alex Ross paying homage to Superman and Spider-Man. That's why I put it.
Yeah.
Right?
I looked this up, and you can find this pretty easy on eBay as well.
I love looking at it. Space Ghost number 1. Another phenomenal cover. Super cheap. 2005 Space Ghost number 1. $7, very fine. 9.8 are averaging at $29 for a Space Ghost.
Yeah.
Just an iconic image. $7. How can you go wrong?
You can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm. I mentioned this earlier. Project Superpowers number 1. This was a pet project of Alex Ross where he took some, no longer in existence Golden Age characters, and he decided he wanted to make stories with them. So he was able to get the rights for many of these characters, like the Green Llama and popular Black Terra. He's actually probably one of the most popular characters of the bunch, and he was able to do stories with him. So he reimaged them for modern day audience. They went fair. They didn't sell as hotcakes because no one really knew about these characters. But it's just a cool little thing that Alex Ross does where he likes to pay homage to classic Golden Age characters. $3, another book. You can probably find it anywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you can't go wrong again with the covers. It's just something that over time, I think, will become more appreciated.
Yeah, especially if you get something like a Black Terra story, because Black Terra is one of those characters that I can see return someday. Somebody will let's just turn this into a movie of some kind. Here's another fun one. This is an homage to Star Wars number 1. This is the 1 in 50 variant that came out in 2015. This book has a fair market value of $18. 9.6 is going for $65. Last recorded sale happened in September for $18. This is Star Wars returning to Marvel because of the Disney acquisition. And Alex Ross provided a variant cover for this book.
Just look at again, another example of ratios, $18 for a 1 in 50.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good price.
Yeah, because the ratio of 1 in 50 should cost $50 at least, right? Mm-hmm. But I thought it was cool to see him doing an homage to Star Wars number 1.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now we're going to go into Secret Wars. And there's a book coming. 2015, Marvel Comics. This book is going for $9, $62 and 9.8. Last recorded sale of this book is $13. The first appearance of God Emperor Doom. I put this book here because this is a book that is inexpensive, but people will be hunting it in due time.
Yep. If you're not hunting it already and you hunt for movie books, you should be buying this now.
It's amazing. This book's almost 10 years old now.
Yeah, I know. It's
wow.
So surprising.
So you have this one. And if you remember this one, issue number 5, this is going for now $15. 9.8 of this book is $83. The last recorded sale was $10. And of course, it's because it was featured as a little Easter egg in Deadpool and Wolverine.
It is so hard to see that book in that movie. Like you got to go frame by frame. It's not there long, but
And
you can tell.
it didn't go anywhere afterwards, right?
Yeah.
I still think it's a cool cover though.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a very cool cover.
So, and finally, the timeless covers. I am not going to give you how much they're worth because we are talking about a lot of books.
Yeah.
But the first wave of timeless books started in 2020, and what they are is they're just pinups. There's certain pinups with a white background, and Alex Ross decided to start with 35 characters for the first wave, which were all heroes. Namor was the first one. You got a really cool storm. What was interesting about what I was finding out about these books were that some of them were standard books that were just easily accessible, but there were some variants that came along with them as well. That's where it gets a little hard. The variants was like exclusive variants. So you had to go through a dealer to get them. I love the Silver Surfer,
Yeah.
She-Hulk, Human Torch, Black Widow, Doctor Strange. Look at that thing, man. That's how Thing looks like in real life. That's how he will look. Right. There's the Wolverine. I always like the Wolverine one as well. His Wolverine was great. His Spider-Man's great. His Punisher, man. Love his Punisher.
What if you had to do a word bubble for Spider-Man? What would he be saying?
Man, Thor's hammer is heavy.
That's good. That's good.
Well, I immediately saw Thor underneath it. That's why I thought of it. So it's really cool because he did Phoenix here, and in the next wave he does Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
So another thing that's important to note with these books is that there's also sketch variants. So the sketch variants are not necessarily the sketch of this image. Excuse me. It's the preliminary sketch that will eventually become the image. So they're not the same image.
The Scarlet Witch one is one to watch out for because was when Strange Academy was so hot, and that one has quite a bit of value.
Yeah. And as you can see, some of these, the Captain America one was a variant. I believe Cyclops was a variant as well. Okay. The second wave featured villains, and it was really to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the Avengers. It started with Green Goblin, the Mystique, Ultron, Black Cat, Mephisto. There's the Dark Phoenix there. Kang. Juggernaut looks fierce.
Yeah.
Right. White Queen, Elektra. Look at the Mandarin. No, yeah. I guarantee you most people didn't know that was him.
Yeah, I know. I didn't when I think I have that one.
Yeah. Mysterio, MODOK, Hela. Dr. Octopus one is Spider-Man issue number 7, which is the first appearance of Spider-Boy. This one is not as expensive, but still keep in mind that book is the first appearance of Spider-Boy.
If you're looking for, I don't know if you saw this when you're going through the covers, but there's a volume of Fantastic Four where the first 4 issues were black and white covers of the Fantastic Four by Alex Ross. And if you like the Thing one, it's more of a full body one that's there. They're all really cool looking covers.
Cool. Here's the other ones here. That Kingpin, Thanos. I like Thanos because it's a Warlock comic book. There's Doctor Doom, Electro. Look at that mug on Apocalypse, man. He looks pissed.
Yeah. Kingpin as well. That's a good Kingpin one.
That's definitely a good Kingpin. All right, so got some more to Loki. Again, he likes drawing the classic looks. I noticed how Loki and their mom will have the same pose. Super Skrull, the leader. I always like the Galactus one.
Yeah, love that one too.
And finally, last book on this pack is Fantastic Four Full Circle. This is a hardbound book as well. This book came out in 2022. I'm amazed that it's already been that long since this book came out. It has a fair market value of $20. Last sold of this book was $13. It's a great book. It is an amazing book. He kind of changed his style a little bit, with the colors. So he was trying to channel like an inner Steranko style to it, where more Kirby-esque, because he does have, you know, a love and affinity for, like I said, the Silver Age and the Golden Age. This book is beautiful.
I've had this in my hand so many times, Izzy, and
Mhm.
now you've clinched it for me. I'm just going to buy it. Like every time I pick it up and I look at it, it's because it's sealed, so you can't see the inside, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. Yeah,
There it is.
I'm just going to have to buy it.
Just
Wednesday's going to be a big day.
when you look at the colors of this book, it is breathtaking. That's how beautiful. Again, this is him changing his style. He
Yeah,
modified his style to have different shades of colors. So when you read it, it transports you to a different place. And there you have it, guys. The creator spotlight for Alex Ross. Uh, Tell me what you think about this list. Did I miss some books? Of course, I missed some books. Alex Ross has a lot of books. However, I wanted to showcase certain books, like the 3 books that you see there. They're classics as well. Go hunt them out. Go check it out. You can find a lot of good Alex Ross books at really good prices.
yeah,
You know, again, it's one of those things where it's like these creators, their books are not getting that same attention that a first appearance would, or something like that,
yeah.
where they
And
should.
it was really, you got a lot of good covers in there too, so that was good as well. Like
Mhm.
getting to see all those timeless ones. I know that I'm like other people. Yeah, I love looking at those.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more comic content. Check out these other videos for even more insight, and I'll see you at the next one. Excelsior.